And so this woman says she's a prophetess. And she got a word from my husband. I said, no, you ain't got a word for him. You got a word for us. The spirit of the prophet is subject to the prophet. Natasha Davis, I told you, I'm not your typical first lady. This first lady fight. And if I catch you in the street, I warned you.
This is really sad. Now, let's look at this couple. They just met during the pandemic.
Welcome back. Our next guest met during the pandemic. He was a friend of her sister's. She says he was the needle in the haystack right under her nose. Together, they now share 8 children in their blended family. I am thrilled to welcome back Jamelia Gooden and her husband, Fred, who is joining us too for the very first time ever. I'm so excited about this. Good morning to you guys.
Hi, how are you? Happy holidays to you. Good morning.
Oh, happy holidays to you too. Jamelia, you know what I love about your story is that you got a divorce, but you didn't give up on the search and finding someone that you thought was a good match for you, a good guy, and then it turns out it's your sister's best friend. What?
It was the needle in the haystack, which was right underneath my nose. Remember, you've got to ask yourself, how bad do you want it? Yeah. And sometimes you have to pull somebody into your search to help you find the right needle. And we did, yeah.
Look at you, Fred. You're the right needle, I guess, huh?
How you doing? I guess I was.
I'm doing great. I'm so happy she talked you into joining us because I was wondering if you were real. We've talked about you before, but I've never seen you before.
Yeah. Well, I'm here.
In the flesh. Yep, she's pinching you. So talk about, was Jamelia someone you had met many times before, but never really thought, oh, this is somebody I want to date and potentially marry?
We have never met. We never met at that time. It was just, I knew her sister for 10 years, but I never met her the whole time. In fact, I didn't know that my friend had a sister.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
I love that. What about blending families? Has that been the most challenging part of your relationship?
No. And it is a blessing. The children of all ages, and it has not been a problem.
Yeah.
Why is that, you guys? Because so many people struggle with this. Why is it? Look at that video. You guys are adorable. How do you make it work?
A lot of understanding. You have to have an understanding that you have meshed together 2 families who are now becoming one. And it takes a lot of understanding, but don't force it.
Yeah.
Let it come naturally. But the 2 people who are together now have to be the example. If you present peace, if you do it right, peace will follow. Yeah. If you force it, anything you force eventually will break. And so learn the personalities and lead by example. And that's what we do. We have no choice because we want our to be successful. And thank God we're doing that now.
Good for you guys. You're beautiful people, a happy couple. Fred, what was it like your first holiday as a remarried couple with 8 children?
It started out, I was a little nervous at first, but it just turned out great. Grandchildren all over the place. All in the refrigerator, asking questions. I was nervous for my wife for a minute, but it turned out it was awesome.
Good for you. I love that. What about handling the exes? Be honest about this part, Jamelia. Is there any trick to it? Because you guys obviously cooperate. You want your kids to get along. What if you're dealing with somebody who's more difficult? Because a lot of people deal with that.
Well, first of all, we both say you don't. Yeah. It depends on the individual. You have to understand that there was history. There was children involved. But you must understand that right now, that is the past. Yeah. The future are the children, not the ex that produced the children.
That's right.
And we have to get an understanding. And sometimes, believe it or not, if the age groups help a lot, if you have older children, it's easier to deal with. Whereas if you have very young children, you got to get an understanding that feelings may be involved. But right now, we are the spouses right now that have to raise the children together. And it is not about us. It is about a healthy family.
That's right.
And having healthy children. And sometimes, based upon the maturity, it goes a long way.
Mature.
Maybe the new spouse will be able to step in for peace sake. And if they want to be cantankerous and if they want to always keep things going, handle them accordingly. But it is about the children, because if they're young, you guys got to raise those children and get your emotions out of it.
That's right.
What if you have a child who's resistant to meeting or welcoming in a new spouse? Do you try to just give them some grace?
Yeah, you give them grace, but you do not allow the disrespect, because that happens a lot. You now have this individual in your space, especially if you were a single mother or single father, and especially if a child wanted their parents to be together. You have to get an understanding, because divorce is like a death, especially to a young child. They don't understand, so there's a level of love and patience that is necessary. But you do not allow them to be manipulative to try to break up something that ultimately could be beautiful if you just give them a little bit of time.
That's right.
All right, we ran out of time. I'm going to put you on the spot here. So you're a single parent at one point, both of you. How do you handle who sits at the head of the table?
I sit to the head of the table.
The head of the house and the head of the spouse.
That's right.
And that's what it is. Don't compromise that. Get an understanding. He gets the big piece of chicken, but we all.
I love it. Oh, it's so great to have both of you joining us today. Fred, I think your wife is absolutely beautiful. You got a real beauty there, and I love the needle in the haystack analogy. Thank you both, and happiest holidays to you.
Happy days to you.
Appreciate it. Great to see you both.